Take two.
Back with more technical difficulties.
All right. Episode 11.
Yep, the 420 episode.
The 420 episode. Jay, I know you're enjoying yourself out there in California. Big holiday for you California folks out there. How are you doing tonight?
You know, aside from all the technical difficulties, I can't complain. It was another 75, 80 degree day. 420, great holiday. And yeah, I'm, recording yet another No Vest podcast with you through all the difficulties. I'm going to iPhone this week, just out of that's what we got. So
every week we get closer to me just fully taking over this entire platform. I think the people. There hasn't been too much pushback on it. I think people are anticipating that this screen eventually. Just goes full screen, and it's just Otchi Jen rocking the No Vest podcast himself, a one-man band. I mean, what do you say to those people, Jay?
Yeah, I mean, I think they have, it's kind of a pipe dream. Let's be real. I think I'm the Pippin to your Jordan, if you will. I mean, you guys see the memes. I'm Ricky Bobby. You're Cal Naughton. It's just you can't have one without the other. We're shake and bake. We're Mike and Scotty. They can try to kick me out, but that's the thing. This is like my flu game. You know what I'm saying? Like,
this is okay.
They're at my head. The internet people are fucking with me. I gotta get on the horn with Comcast after this to get my internet back going if I plan on playing any MLB The Show or anything tonight. So. Yeah, I mean, I'm fighting through adversity. But
and you're not even going to mention the fact that I'm clean shaven after how many episodes of you making fun of the goatee, the mustaches, the facial hair. I mean, it looks like you're having a tough time with your facial hair, but I'm officially clean shaven on MVP.
It does look nice. You look sharp.
Thank you.
I will say I am having a tough time. It's the barber game is, you've dealt with it a bit. It's trust. You put a lot of trust in people. And I don't just dish that trust out to anyone. And so I've yet to find a true barber that I can, put my faith in. So if that's the case, then I'm just going to be looking like this for a while.
So I want to get into something right away, Jay. I was in Iowa this last week, and I got to tell you, if I thought that Oshkosh was like an untapped circuit, Iowa is greater than Oshkosh. That's all I'm going to say. Iowa was awesome.
That's not all you're going to say. You're going to say a lot more, but go ahead.
I honestly don't know exactly what you're talking about, but Iowa was a fantastic time. I will say, in terms of our college campuses, Iowa is definitely creeping to that top. I wouldn't put it ahead of Dayton at this point. I don't have enough experience to go to make that claim here on MVP, but I will say that Iowa is up there at the top.
Are you saying the Iowa? Obviously,
the Hawkeyes.
Yeah, the Hawkeyes. Okay. I've had a little bit of experience in that region as well. That's kind of like that's the Big Ten. They didn't necessarily get into Madison, maybe not Ohio. It wasn't their first choice. So they're like, all right, I still want to stay Big Ten. I like football game days. Let's go to Iowa. Let's be real. There's not much to do in Iowa, so I could see how you would maybe be in a trance a bit.
I think that's where you're wrong, Jay. You say there's nothing to do in Iowa. I found a lot to do in Iowa. I went four-wheeling. I had myself a great weekend. A lot of fun. Found out what it's like, to be on a farm and go through that whole experience. So it was it was a good time.
See, I think I don't know. I'm sure you remember, but you grew up in the city your whole life. I'm actually from fucking Farmville, nowhere. You know what I'm saying? I'm from where I originally was, where I grew up. So farm life, I'm a little bit accustomed to farm life. And I think it's fun for like a weekend. It's a nice getaway. You have a little bit of fun for a couple days. You get dirty. It's a good time. I don't know that I can live the farm life. Are you committed? Are you ready to commit to the farm life?
So I'll just
a lot more about this week.
I'll just get into my MVP story time early this week. And basically, I was in Iowa. I went up with my cousin and his girlfriend, and she has a lease there, so we were able to kind of crash there. So I went out with them and, hung out with all their friends, and I started, talking to one of their mutual friends, and we hit it off quite well. And she asked me, do you want to go four-wheeling? And obviously my initial response was, hell yeah, I'll go four-wheeling. Why not? And so the next morning, we go to her parents' house. And I didn't know it was going to be an hour and 15 minutes away.
Wow.
Yeah. So we're trapping off campus. We're going to her parents' house. And, I'm like, how many...
Hold on. Can we rewind? Because this is, for the no-vesters out there, this is the first time I'm hearing this story as well. We kind of saved it so I could get a bit of a live reaction. You hadn't met this girl before this meeting with your cousin, correct?
No idea. No idea who she was.
Invite was she wanted you to meet her parents?
Yes. So I mean, there was some talking.
No further questions.
Yes, there was. We talked. We hit it off. There was a vibe that obviously connected, and she wanted me to go to the farm and go four-wheeling with her and meet her parents. And so I was like, I don't see why not. So we trapped an hour and 15 minutes up to her farm, her parents' farm. And first off, one thing about Iowa, and I didn't even know that this existed, but apparently this exists in a lot of different cities, is, we're driving quite a bit of ways off campus to the middle of absolutely nowhere, Iowa, and they have cameras that track your speed. And as soon as you hit 12 miles per hour over the speed limit, you get a ticket in the mail. Now, I don't know who in their right mind would support that,
who voted on that?
Who voted on that is right. We're going to save a ton of lives by putting these cameras up. Anytime someone goes more than 12 miles per hour, we're just going to send them a $60 ticket in the mail. So there was a lot of new stuff for me this weekend that I had never experienced. I have never been on a farm like that or gone four-wheeling like that. And, we went to the middle of nowhere. She had like 4 sheds, four sheds. 4 sheds.
Did you have a barn or just
just
sheds? Split up into sheds.
It was just a lot of sheds. That's all I'm going to tell you.
That's kind of a. All right, carry it. All right.
So also, she has a basketball hoop on one of the barns, and no, she's not a hooper. But I wanted to go shoot around because I'm like, I've seen the movie Hoosiers. I always wanted to just get at Larry Bird.
Indiana, bro.
No, I know. I always wanted to just Larry Bird-esque, get up a couple good looks, on the barn hoop. And there was no basketball, so I wasn't able to do that. There was a volleyball. I shot around with the volleyball a couple times. But we went four-wheeling through the backwoods of Iowa. I got
Hold on. First off, I have to call you out. That's a little bit of a hard-o move. You're like, let me I got to put up a couple shots. Like, you had to show her that you have nice form, basically. It was your goal, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to do a couple different dribbling drills, maybe some behind-the-back moves. I was going to hit a couple of Euro steps,
The Euro step, yeah.
Maybe impress...
Show her what's in your repertoire.
Maybe impress Pops, like that, that boy, he can, that boy's a hooper.
Oh, okay.
It's
deeper. You're going for the whole family. You're trying to impress everyone.
So anyway, she had four-wheelers, and she's like, this one's mine. We'll take this one out. And, I get on the back of it, and she starts ripping this thing. I'm talking like 40 mph, just zipping. It was awesome. We're in the woods. There's a quarry. It was a ton of fun. Hung out with like her family. It was kind of weird, you know what I'm saying? Like, who is this guy? And I asked, like, how many times have you brought someone back to go four-wheeling from campus? And she's like, oh, no, this is my first time. I've never done this before. And that's when Otchi, things are starting
to click.
Some things are starting to click for young Otchi. So, but anyway,
this isn't popping off any kind of red flags with you. This is all like, this is okay.
So like the night before, it was kind of later in the evening, and she was like, "Do you want to go four wheeling?" And I agreed to it, but I had made the assumption, like the next day, we weren't gonna mention of it. We were just gonna kind of let it slip into the background.
Right. Yeah.
And she hit
Kind
me
of like
with
a false hope, like just like
yeah.
a fake invite
A
almost.
fake invite, yeah. It's like when you get drunk and people are like, "Oh, we gotta go to my lake house
Right.
this tomorrow," or you totally gotta come visit me in Florida. And then if one person makes a plan, normally like a lot of times the other person will back out. Well, no, it was not like that at all. She's totally in on it. Then we road trip back. Yeah, it was a busy weekend for young Otchi. It was a ton of fun.
Okay, so I think there's a lot to unpack here. The first thing I want to start with, a grown man, and I didn't know this before, but you just told me that there was four-wheelers, and you are 6 foot plus grown men, and you hopped on the back of a four-wheeler and you were straddling like you were, you know what I'm saying? That is out of pocket. I think you should. That's a super beta move, and people are gonna be like, "Oh, whatever." That's beta, bro. You kind of fucked up. You were trying to set a good note. You were trying to put a couple shots up. Show you had nice touch around the rim. And then you went and you sat on the back of the four-wheeler, bro. I just have to call you out on that. You should have been. You were like, let me show you how to drive this.
No, so there's a lot I need to unpack with your statement as well. And here's what I'll say to that: the back seat, Jay. I know you make fun of it, but that's almost where you want to be. Like there's the back seat is a good spot to be in. Like if like you go to like a haunted house, like you go to a haunted house with like a girl or something, and someone pops out and she jumps back into you. You want to be in the back seat of a haunted house. It's almost like that, Jay, where if you're on the four-wheeler, you almost want to be on the back. I thought I did eventually take over the sticks because I was like, I need to prove that I can even drive this thing. Turns out it's a pretty, heavy duty piece of equipment. And I was pretty scared and I took it pretty slow. But then, we get an open field. I let her rip. I open it up. But I would say that there's a lot of the back seat is almost where you want to be.
So I'm gonna refute. I'm gonna continue to refute because this goes back. If people will backtrack the episodes, we brought up the whole who needs to walk closest to the street. Okay, it's little things like that. Now, don't get me wrong. Like little spoon, I don't mind being the little spoon every now and then. Okay, I understand what you're saying, but in those type of situations, you're talking about extreme off-road vehicles, and you're on the back.
So first off, she had
very
been
nice young woman.
Yeah,
I can't, I don't know that I could.
She had been doing this like her entire life, so like she knew like you could tell she had been four-wheeling. She said she does it every week, so she knows the track. It was like probably like a 5-6 mile like trail. She's getting in and out of these cuts. She's ripping it. Like I actually was not even just holding on because I wanted to. I was holding on because I needed to because she was going so fast I would have fallen off. But Jay,
it should have been reversed roles.
It was well. Here's the weird thing. So I go up.
It's a slippery slope, Jack. It's a slippery slope.
It is a slippery slope. But I went up. I went up with my cousin and his girlfriend, like I had mentioned, and basically, like I'd only seen them for like not even half the time. Like I texted my cousin like, "Yo, like I'm going four-wheeling, an hour and 15 minutes away," and he's responding like, "You're doing what? Like what is the deal?" I went on like this all-day excursion with someone I had never met, but it was pretty dope. It was pretty dope. Now I think that Iowa might be an untapped circuit. I think we need to add that to our list of colleges.
Yeah, and I don't want to sound like I'm just trying to rip it all the way down. I'm just, you're a friend of mine. I like to consider you a friend of mine.
Consider me.
We do this podcast. We bring awareness to people. I'd hate for this to go down. I'd hate for it to go down a bad path. I just want to make sure that you are steering these waters correctly. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes I know you think you're a pro, but sometimes it takes those outside eyes to just get you to step back.
So
that's all I'm trying to do. I'm glad you had a great time in Iowa. I really am. I'm not trying to sound like I'm
so like you ever get into a conversation with someone and like it's just hitting a little bit different, like, you know, it's like time like no, like seriously, like we were at like this party, and like, you know, we start talking, and then all of a sudden like an hour and a half had gone by, and it's still just us talking, like just the two of us, completely secluded conversation, like, you know, her friends come try to break it up, like, hey, like, play this drinking game with us. My buddies, like, you know, like, hey, like, you know, maybe, like, let's mix it up. And people, you could tell people are, like, starting to get, like, I wouldn't even say, like, uncomfortable, but they're almost, like, what is going on? You know what I'm saying? When, like, you do, like, a take around the room and everyone's just kind of, like, looking at you. You know, I think that's a vibe that everyone should strive for. That's an absolute...
I will admit, there are some, you know, the feeling is undeniable. Right, when it comes and it hits you, it's hard to shake it, because, you know, like you said, everything's going right. You know what I'm saying? And it just kept rolling. Now you're meeting the family. I just I just want you to pump the brakes a little bit.
Yeah. So
especially after, because I told you I was putting you on the hot seat. You've left out a key part here. You've said all this. The conclusion of your weekend at about whatever time it was at the scary hours, as we like to say, for the 13 followers that you had, you thought that you should share that you are in love. Otchi Jalen in love with this Iowa Flame.
Okay.
After this weekend, that was confessed.
Okay. One, it was scary hours of the night. Two, I think I put a question mark on the end of it, and it was supposed to be humorous. I did not mean it to be taken literally. And I also think that there are
like open-ended a little bit.
Yeah, like maybe, like, hypothetically speaking, and also it was a joke. It was in a comedy format. And as well as, you know, there are a lot of burner Otchi Gen accounts out there. I don't even know if you can verify that this was me. Now, I'm not going to say it wasn't me, but you can't prove that there was no blue check mark here, Jay. That could have been anyone off of anybody's account.
You were hacked? Are you going with you?
I think I might go on record as to say I may have been hacked a little bit. I may have.
That's the go-to. That's the go-to excuse. I was hacked.
Okay, so I want to tie this.
Double down by tweeting a couple more times.
Okay, no.
To prove that it wasn't you. You're like, they hacked it. They went on the street.
Yeah.
They're tweeting all kind of crazy.
They were. They were.
That's a good move.
Yeah, they absolutely were tweeting outrageous things. But I want to tie this into another story, because, you know, when you have something like that where you just have like a friendship almost or whatever over like a weekend or like a very short period of time, but you know it can't go on because of just a lot of different reasons. It's very weird to like try to end it. So like one time at Summerfest, you know, I met this girl who was a Colombian, you know, and she only spoke Spanish. So
that's great.
I took her out at Summerfest. You know, we walked the grounds or whatever. We had a great day. I didn't even ask her out. I had to have one of my buddies who spoke Spanish ask her. I literally just walked up to her and I said...
You took Spanish, Jack. You were like, come on.
Jay, I don't know a lick of Spanish. I know, like, I couldn't even communicate with her. Everything was over Google Translate. So I had one of my buddies ask her if I could take her to lunch. And she said yes. And I got her number, whatever. And we were just texting through Google Translate. Next day, I show up to Summerfest. I can't even locate her because I don't know Spanish at all. So I'm like, I couldn't even locate her. Luckily I saw her. I was about ready to go home because we couldn't just, you know, coordinate where we were. So anyway, so we meet up. We go to like a concert, whatever. You know, we're eating the Saz's food.
Do you remember the show? What was the show?
It was just some like super low key show. 'Cause she didn't even know American music. She spoke zero English whatsoever, none. And you know, took her out. Then the next day, I'm like, you know, you want to see the fireworks. So I meet up again. We're doing the whole Google Translate. Then she's like, I'm going back to Dallas. You know, tomorrow I leave on a flight to Dallas. I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, we had this, like, you know, this connection, like a good friendship, whatever. You know, we did the firework thing. We did the concert thing. We did the food, whatever. She goes back to Dallas. And then it's like, you know, I mean, it's like, obviously I'm never going to see you again. It's almost weird to end those, like, those short type of friendships or whatever, where you connect with someone and it's like, obviously it's great, but we got to be realistic here.
Yeah. Well, that if we're being transparent, yeah, that hits close to home. Especially, you talk. She's from the South, man. Those girls from the South, it's different. And yeah, you have a fun weekend, and then all of a sudden, you got to go back to fucking bumfuck, Milwaukee. It's cold, and you're just like, damn. You know what I'm saying? I'd like to be in Dallas right now with my Colombian girl that doesn't know anything. I can't say that I feel you all the way, but I feel you. I really do feel you.
Yeah, and it's how much longer are we gonna are we gonna text for like a few days after? Are we gonna text for a week? Because soon enough, we're just gonna run out of steam.
Yeah, or it's a slippery slope. That may be that's another story. But you did bump into something that I think we a lot of times rag on the new age technology era, the social media era, and we talk about how much it kind of hinders relationships. In this case, the fact that you could just kind of pull out your phone and type messages back and forth to each other on Translate is like so off. Like, it just opens up so many more doors.
It really does.
Never even had a chance if it wasn't for your iPhone.
Exactly.
So we have to give it its credit when credit is due.
Granted, Google Translate will drain your battery. I had to leave, after midday, go home, charge my phone, and then come back to Summerfest because my phone died and we couldn't talk anymore. But that's neither here nor there.
I don't know how long ago this was. Hopefully nowadays, they're optimizing the battery to help
just if anyone finds himself in a scenario like that, cheese curds does not translate into Spanish very well. I typed in cheese curds in my phone and she gave me an outrageous look. I don't know what it translated to, but cheese curds did not translate in Spanish. She gave me a dirty look
come up with a new word for cheese curd. Granted, you say cheese curds anywhere outside of Wisconsin and they really don't know what you're talking about anyway, so I agree. Yeah, maybe come up with a new word.
It may have honestly translated to cheese turds. I have no idea. She gave me a horrible look. But I wanted to get into a little follow up on a previous episode. I think it was episode 9. We talked about going golfing, with your significant other, and I got a little bit of pushback on that. I was asked, Otchi, you're saying you can't go golfing, you can't really play sports at a high level. What can you do with your significant other than, go out to dinner with them? Jay, do you want to give your analysis?
I do. And if we're talking about the golf, I know you're a big golf guy, so I'll keep it in the golf realm, even though I'm not a golfer. The tone that is set with the round. If you're going with your boys, it's you know what I'm saying, and it's you've timed it out. You're like, we're setting it for the weekend. Going with my boys, or maybe even like you said, like a trip, like a golf trip. To be a line in the sand, it's sacred at that point. It becomes sacred. Now, if you want to have you and your significant other want to take a golf date, that is acceptable, but you cannot then include the boys. Or flip it. If you and the girls like to go shoot 9 or the back 9 on a Thursday, and then you just bring your boyfriend to that, it's sacred. Lines need to be drawn. They can't be brought to that. And if you want to do that on your guys' own time, that's when it becomes acceptable. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that. I'd say the par 3 is where you take the girl, or you go mini golfing. If you really want to go golfing, go mini golfing. But don't take her to the nice course. With the boys, or even if it's just the two of you. I'm still kind of I'm throwing shade at you. But
I don't know, Jack. I think you're just being a little bit cocky. I went to school with a couple of golf, state contenders, if you will, on the women's team, and I think they would give you a run for your money. I don't know that
I'm awful at golf.
I don't know that your chip game is that good.
I'm horrible.
So why can't they play with you? Is it? Are you saying why the par 3s? Is it a skill thing, or is it like you just want to get it done quicker? You don't really want to.
No, because I feel like
what is it?
Like I said, everyone it's about where you tee off from.
The tee, you did, yeah. The tee. I'm not familiar with the tee boxes, but you're saying it fucks up the flow of the game.
It really does, and we can. I think that's enough follow up on that segment there. Now, Jay, I want to get into our favorite part of every week. My favorite part of every week, the red flag of the week.
You know, for the 420 red flag, I gotta light it back up.
Unbelievable. So Jay, you want to go first this time, or you want to? I could probably.
You got a hot one? If you got a hot one, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know how hot it is, but I would say I have two. Cause
okay. I've noticed that we got to stop giving them the twofers.
I can't. I gotta stop going two for one.
One at a time. We gotta give them one at a time here.
Okay.
They're getting twofer. They're getting you and me. They don't need four. You know they.
Okay. All right. Well, then I'll just do one. My red flag of the week would be the invite to meet the parents too early, because obviously it ties into my initial story.
Thank you. At least you recognize it. I'm just glad that you do this every week. You bring up red flags every week, and you're man enough to admit when you come up on a red flag, and even though you want to look past it. That's the thing about these red flags is they're not the worst thing in the world.
No.
You wanna just like end it right then and there. It's never a deal breaker, but it's just something that it pops up and you're gonna remember it later.
Yeah.
So I agree. It's an eagerness. It's we talked about it a bit last week with Sam. It's a little bit too fast. You know what I'm saying? That's borderline asking you for the invite. If they're trying to meet the parents, meeting the parents is that's important right there.
Yeah, I mean, it can be, it can be kind of confusing because it's like a lot of times they'll try to play it off as very casual, like, oh, like we'll go get drinks and my mom will just be there. You know what I'm saying? Or, oh, we're going up to this lake house cabin, like you should come. Oh, yeah, it's with my family. Or like, hey, let's go four-wheeling. It's at my parents' house. Like, it's like, I wouldn't really say that was like meeting the parents. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't get introduced like that. It was just kind of like, oh, we're, this is this guy. We're just going to go four-wheeling. It wasn't like that, but it pertains to my story. So that will be my red flag of the week, is the too early invite to meet the parents. Now, there is also like a side category where it's too early to meet like the immediate family. Like second time, they're like, oh, like you should meet my brother, sister, or anything like the immediate family. It's all part of that same kind of category,
I couldn't agree more. It gets dangerous because it just, I don't know. It's just like, in my mind, I'll be transparent with you. In my mind, I just feel like she's like looking so far ahead. She's like, oh, like she sees so much that she feels like her parents need to know who you are.
Yeah.
Because she's going to be talking about you at dinners, you know what I'm saying? And they can't be like, who's this Jack guy? You're like, oh, you met him already. It's just, it's dangerous waters. I'm not saying it's a no-go. I'm just saying the flags are posted. You can choose to swim if you'd like. You know what I'm saying?
Sometimes you just gotta. Sometimes you get a red light or stop sign. You just gotta blow right through it. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, like it's a yellow light. It's turning red, but you just step on the gas.
Get to the next intersection.
I understand where your head is. Now my red flag of the week. It's a little bit more lighthearted, but I think when I say lighthearted, I mean it's not as extreme of a red flag. This one applies both ways. I love to. I'm gender neutral here. I go both ways. The tattoos, all right? And now I'm not saying all tattoos are bad. What I'm saying is the tattoos that people regret. The tattoos that they're maybe like, oh yeah, I got this when I was 17. My mom didn't want me to get one, but I went and got one anyway. And maybe their friend did it at a party downstairs. Or like, a lot of times guys, they'll go to like Vegas or they'll get super drunk or something. They'll just wake up with a tattoo. Those kind of people, that just make irrational, permanent decisions, you need to be careful with, because you just don't know what they're capable of going forward. They could make any kind of wild decision with bad, long-lasting ramifications without even thinking about it. They'll just do it in an instant. You know what I'm saying? My favorite, the Friday the 13th. It's like, oh yeah, they're just like giving out free tattoos at the I just came. You don't even really get to pick. You just get a tattoo. It's like, what?
Yeah.
You just got to be careful with those people. What do you have to say about that?
I honestly want to do this as a whole segment at some point, so I don't want to go too far into the tattoo realm because I feel like there's just so much that I could talk about here. But I mean, it's also it's tricky, Jay, because a lot of times you don't know about the tattoo. So like, I was hanging out with this girl and I didn't know she even had a tattoo. It was basically just like her entire back was a tattoo. And it was like Jalen, it was a massive lion. Like, like the Lionsgate when they're doing the movie. It was a big ass lion. And it was huge. It took up her entire back. And I did not know that until, we had been hanging out for a while. And I saw the thing and it scared the shit out of me. I mean, it seriously scared me. And so, I mean, I know what you're saying with like the whole like spring break, like spring break 2015. I got this like cactus on my shoulder, and then you just have a cactus on. It's so stupid. I would say like the worst tattoos are just like the ones that everyone have. Like the armband or like a sun.
The ones that they have in the books.
Yeah.
You go there and pick one out of the book. Like, it's like, come on.
But I also am not a fan of, like, tattoos that have deep meanings. Like, it's like, this is a pretty bad story, but I'll tell it anyway because it's intriguing as hell. One time, there was this girl on my dorm floor, and she had, like, a little, like, note on her foot that said, like, farewell, like, whatever, like, farewell, Jason, or, like, the sun is always shining, like, dash Jason. And I was like, what the hell is on your foot? And she was, and I don't, it was a good atmosphere. We were listening to music, pre-gaming a little bit. And she said, that was the last words of my brother's suicide note. And the whole vibe just absolutely died on sight. And I didn't even know what to say. But my initial thought was like, you just should not be putting that on your foot for everyone to see, because I'm sure I wasn't the only one to ever ask that. And immediately It's just so personal, and it's just such a vibe kill. Like, I can't buy into those vibe killer tattoos. The RI, like, honestly, I hate to say it because I sound so insensitive, but like at the same time, you meet a lot of strangers and they don't know what your tattoos mean, so they will ask, and it shouldn't be deeply personal. So you also have to watch out for the deeply personal tattoos.
So I'm gonna. Because I'm getting ahead of the curve. I'm pretty sure the tattoo community is going to come for us.
Yes, they will.
They're going to say, oh, it's none of your business what...
It's my body. It's my body. I will put on my body what I want.
Your forehead. I'm going to ask what your forehead tattoo is. Because I have to look at it. Or like, obviously that's the most extreme case, but you get what I'm saying. It's like, yeah, of course I'm going to ask. Like, you printed it on your body. I feel like it's that back and forth. Like, they want you to ask, but then when you ask, it's like, oh, why'd you ask? It's like, you can never win. It goes deep. It's a slippery slope with these tattoos.
Like a little it's like a little like cursive. It's like a little cursive squiggly, and it's like, what the hell does that mean? It's like, it means like sunrise, heaven, earth, the moon, the tides, and peace in Vietnamese. It's like
all in one.
It's like, why would you get that tattooed on your body? And like, who are you to have this like super deep, like, oh, it means love in this weird Hebrew language? Like, who cares?
Yeah. Or how about like a case like, there's the people that get like the Chinese symbols. They don't know a lick of Chinese.
Yeah.
That'd be like if you went and got like Spanish on your chest. You're like, I don't even know how to speak fucking Spanish, but I got like, it says good life on my chest. I was like, how the fuck do you know? You don't even speak Spanish.
So, yeah, I completely agree. I do want to say more on the tattoo segment because I feel like I just want to dive in on that so bad.
Yeah, we could go nuts.
We could go nuts. And here's the thing. When we're on MVP, we're just saying what we think. But I feel like it used to be, not that many people had tattoos, and now the tattoo community is growing it's ever growing. So like
becoming the norm.
We are so in the minority here, Jay. But like I'll still totally say what I think on it.
Yeah. I'm not scared. I'm not scared of the tattoo. That's the thing. A lot of people be like, "Oh, that guy's got tattoos. He's scary." It's like, dude, I know so many guys with like a bunch of fucking tattoos that are like the biggest nerds you've ever seen.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's
yeah.
Like, that doesn't like the whole that I feel like with like how you said tattoos are becoming more popular, they've lost their edge a little bit. Before, like you see a guy with a tattoo, like a visible tattoo, you're like, damn, that guy's like badass. You know what I'm saying? Like he doesn't give a fuck. Like he doesn't care if he gets a job. You know.
No, I will say like. I mean, there are a lot of tattoos that just like scare me. Like if like a chick has like a snake and it looks like it's about to bite her ear and it's slithering from her neck. Like I know at that moment I'm like, I am officially scared. I'm scared for my own life.
Please slow down on the snake talk because that is I'm just gonna say it now. I'm gonna tease the folks. That's my red flag next week. Just that's all I'm gonna say.
Okay.
So we don't want to go too far into that.
Okay.
Slow down.
Okay. So I guess we'll get off the RFW train. Those were our red flags of the week.
Those were two good ones.
Two good ones. Meeting the parents. Literally right away.
Far too early. Yeah.
Far too early. And Jalen with the regretful tattoos. I think we'll get into a little bit more of a full blown tattoo discussion. If someone wants to honestly come on to MVP who has a ton of tattoos and they want to get into a little verbal argument with us, we are very welcoming to that.
We're here for that. We're
absolutely here for that. But Jay, I had this random thought of the week. This is not a segment, but just a random thought I had was, how come every time you order mac and cheese at a restaurant, it's just so disappointing? Like you can go to gourmet places, you can go to like even like Texas Roadhouse or places you would think would be known for their mac and cheese. It's just horrible. It's mac and cheese as a side. It's like when the waitress tells you that, it's like they're baiting you. It's like they list the fries, and if you should just say fries every time, and then if you don't do fries, you should go with the salad. And that mac and cheese, every once in a while, I'm like, oh, I haven't had mac and cheese in a long time. I'll risk it. Every time I leave the restaurant, severely disappointed.
Yeah, I would say it's like a 1 for 10 percentage on good mac and cheeses. While we're here, I have to shout out the one good mac and cheese I know. Shout out Maxie's. Used to work there.
They have good mac and cheese.
They have good mac and cheese.
Panera also has good mac and cheese.
Right. I would agree. I do eat their mac and cheese. But like you said, it's bait. It's a lot. More times than not, it's awful. And it's for, I'm a big guy. People know that I'm out. So I'm eating. I'm out. I've ordered the mac and cheese, and I know what the problem is. They try to get too fancy. They try, we have a 7 cheese blend, and 4 of the 7 cheeses are like awful, smelly cheeses that make you want to throw up.
Yeah.
And now you have that mix in your mac and cheese, and a lot of people aren't here for that. They're not ready for that, and they take a big bite, and they're like, "Oh, this is dog shit." It's just, it happens so many times. They try to get too fucking cute with the fancy cheeses, and they way overdo it. And that to me is the biggest mistake.
I also think with the mac and cheeses, Jay, the reason why they're so bad is because when you get your entree with your mac and cheese, you're obviously hitting the entree first. You're going to eat the ribs or the steak or the chicken, whatever you got first. So the mac and cheese you're going to wait on. And even just like semi-cold mac and cheese, absolutely disgusting. It's horrible.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Yeah, so it needs to be somewhat of the focal point of the dish, but it just gets scary because if they just, like I said, they try to overdo it. Another thing that can get fucked up is when they fuck up the noodles. Why are they giving me punking, just keep it simple with the basic elbow macaroni. You know what I'm saying? I don't need anything fancy. Just give me the little semicircle U-shaped junts. You know what I'm saying? Quit with the pennes and the the rigatoni. You know, I don't even know what they go with, but it's just too much. It's just keep it simple. Fuck the fancy cheeses. Keep it simple. Keep it, you know, creamy. Keep it light. Keep it sharp.
Jalen sounding off. I mean, I think I triggered something with you, Jay. I think
you triggered something. I do.
This is a deep. I think this is a deeply rooted issue. I think we need to get to the bottom of why you are so hot on, or so cold on mac and cheese.
Well, you brought this up a little while ago. You said, "Yo, we need to sound off on how bad mac and cheese is." And I just it hit right away because it's like I might, to be honest, I think what it was is like a couple days before that I had a shitty mac and cheese, so it was fresh. And it happens to me more than not, to be honest. Like I said, I'm going 1 for 10, 1 for 10 on a good spot. You know, you'll get a good mac and cheese. It's hard. And then it just strays away from ordering it, which sucks because it's such a great dish. When done right, it's a great dish, but I'm discouraged from ordering it.
So Jay, one last thing I want to get into, and I know you had a topic, but I think we're going to stash that for later because I really actually want to bring this up because I think this is really, honestly, quite intriguing, is the whole TV shows. When it comes to, like, what TV shows you want to watch versus what TV shows she wants to watch. So, like, let's just be real. If you're consistently watching New Girl, you need a buddy to help you out. Like, if you're watching Friends or New Girl consistently, or Grey's Anatomy, I'll throw those 3 out as my big 3. Those are my big 3.
I have a confession. Once upon a time, way back when I was young and in love, I found myself watching Desperate Housewives. And I was just like, what the fuck am I doing? You know what I'm saying? I watched 2 episodes and I'm like, I can't do this anymore. You know, like I have to be real with myself. You have to be real with yourself at some point. You can't do it.
Yeah.
You can't do it.
I'm sure you were sheltering that. Like, you weren't telling your buddies, you know, about... No. Yeah, you were...
No shot.
No shot. I'm glad that came out on MVP. You heard it here. Jalen watches Desperate Housewives.
No. I don't watch it. Like I said, once upon a time, when I was young and in love, I found myself watching Desperate Housewives, and I didn't know why. And then when it just.
But like at the same time, like there are so many shows like, you know, I want to watch, where it's like I don't want to watch this with someone else because I know that they probably don't like it. Like if I'm watching True Detective, like that's a pretty intense crime show. You know, like there's not much filtered. It's pretty like you see a lot, especially like the first season. You see like a ton of stuff that would make someone cringe, and it's like, you know, you shouldn't have to watch that. But like, dude, like let's just pump the brakes on the Grey's Anatomy, the Friends, and New Girls, and they try to convince you like, oh, you would like it. It's so good. No, it's not. You find yourself 3 episodes. Really it's just horrible.
And so what? I mean. I think the only compromise is there just has to be 2 TVs, and I think that's easy enough. Like, you know, you have your watch zone, and then she has hers. But then, you know, obviously there wants to be times where you can join. But and then at that point you have to come, you know, to an agreement on what you're going to watch.
Yeah,
I'm not just going to just default to what you like. Because odds are I don't like it, and odds are you don't like what I want to watch. So let's just go watch our own shows, and maybe we throw on, you know, something at the end to, you know.
Or what happens is
the case.
What happens a lot of times is you end up making a compromise that both people aren't fully satisfied with. Like you end up putting on like Friends with Benefits with Justin Timberlake and Mila Kunis, and you're sitting through it. It's a rom-com. It's shorter. You know, it's fine, but it's just not good. You don't watch it and laugh. You don't watch it. You don't get any enjoyment. It's just, you're sitting through it because it's not that bad, and the other person's sitting through it because it's not that bad.
Right. Meanwhile, you're trying to watch Hoosiers, and who knows what the hell she's trying to watch. You know, probably the Sex and the City movie or something like that.
That was a big, I mean, like, seriously, that was a big deal for me. Like, I had my shot to shoot at the barn. Like, I wanted to get some shots up in the driveway because, like, you know, I've watched Hoosiers and I know Larry Bird. Jimmy Chitwood. Like, I wanted that moment. I wanted to just get a few shots up. Like, I was totally fine with, like, no one talking to me for, like, 20 minutes, and I would just be out there just shooting around just
break a little sweat.
break a little sweat. Yeah, absolutely. Like use the barn as the backboard, like. Dude.
You're firing chest passes on.
Yes, exactly. But no, I think that there's a lot to to digest with the whole TV show, because I think that hits home for probably a lot of couples. How many times you've heard like, oh, who cares about the freaking big game? It's just a game. It's just a sports game. There'll be another one in a week. We've all heard it.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's kind of another topic. It was similar to your red flag last week with the, not being aware of some sports icons. Like if you don't understand sports, even like a little bit, like you don't understand how someone could be like attached to a team in any way. Like, I don't know that we're just not on the same wavelength. Like, if that doesn't make sense to you, then it's hard to like explain it to people because they're just so like, they just don't get it. And it's just like, it's just a dead end street.
Or truly the worst people are not even the people that don't pay attention to sports, but they get dragged to like a Packer watch party or something. One of the guys' wives who, she's cool, she likes to talk, everyone's friends with her, but it's 3rd and 10 in the fourth quarter, you're down by like 4 or 5, 5 points. Aaron Rodgers has the ball at like the other team's 40. You're just
and
like,
she's yelling out home run or something.
No, she's like, did I tell you about my garden? Like, did I, it's just some random topic, and everyone's just kind of like even some of the other wives are like, like not really responding, and it's like, oh, is there a big play happening? It's like, you just ruined the whole game. Yeah,
and now we got to fucking punt it, and we're going to lose. Thanks. It's your fault. It's her fault.
It's totally her fault. No, I'm glad we were able to get you on tonight, Jay, on your iPhone. I think it worked out pretty good. Like I said,
I'd like to apologize to the fans. I'm gonna get on the horn with Comcast immediately after this and throw a fit. I'll tell you that right now. Especially because the MLB The Show just came out. I'm trying to play that, so it is a problem. It is a problem.
I also want to shout out our last guest, Sam Pinter. Did have a little bit of audio troubles, but he put on an absolute performance. Some of his stories were ridiculous. I mean, the guy had red flags coming at him in every direction. Awesome to see he's still kicking, because those red flags, man, I'm shocked they haven't gotten to him by now.
Yeah, I mean, I've been watching a lot of murder docs and shit on Netflix. I mean, dude, the story, like the blind date, like it sounded like a murder doc going, but it obviously everything's good. He's a good guy. Everything is okay. I'm glad to hear that, like you said.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything else you want to get into, Jay, before we sign off? I know you gotta go do a little celebration on this date after we sign off.
No, everybody. I hope everybody enjoyed their 420. Obviously, this is going to come out, the day after. But yeah, no, everyone. I hope everyone's doing well. Lock in. The summertime is going to get scary for people out here, and we're going to be here to make sure you're navigating these waters properly. My boy Jack just had a little dose of it. The first good weather. He's outside. He's dabbling in untouched waters, and he's running into red flags. So you see it. It happens to us. It happens to the best of us. We're here to help. That's all I can say.
Last thing I want to get into, Jay, because it kind of pertains to this last weekend was, we had a differential on who is, celebrity boxing. I said I'm all out on celebrity boxing. You said you're all in. Jake Paul kicked the crap out of that guy, knocked him out.
Yeah, he knocked him out. I think I'm gonna say the guy took a dive. I mean, let's be real. I'd probably look better than Ben Askren right now.
I think Jalen, honestly, if you shaved, you would be Ben Askren.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't the first time I've got it, but my point is, yeah. I mean, they both made a shit ton of money. I can't be upset about that. We'll see what happens, with Jake Paul if he gets another big fight. I'm telling people now, like, yo, you better watch your tone with me, or I'll Jake Paul you. That's a new term right now.
Yeah.
Because Jake Paul is just ending people. He's just lighting guys up. So if someone comes at me the wrong way, I tell them, I'll hit you with a Jake Paul. So be careful. I don't know.
That's good stuff. Yeah, it was pretty entertaining, but I don't know where I stand at. I'm kind of against the celebrity bandwagon boxing, but I mean that's.
So you're not going to be watching the TikTok versus YouTube boxing event?
No, I will not. I'm out on that. But
I'll let you know. I'll update the people on how that went.
Please do. If if you're not already following all of the No Vest account, make sure you follow us at No Vest. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Keep the comments, keep everything coming. We appreciate you guys week in, week out, and we will be back here same time next week. This is Otchi, Jen, and Jay Fish signing off. Episode 11. Thank you.